Hi, good evening everyone, and welcome to Life is Too Short. And it's going to be quite a short one this evening because you only have myself and my long-suffering husband, Blair.
Hello.
Yeah, so you've only got us two. You know what, but I'm so happy because, well, in one way, I'm going to miss everyone, but I'm also happy because I could present, amazing poets that I love, and Blair's going to do, well, you're going to do kind of an introduction to some history, and then the poem, aren't you?
Well, it's a poet from the 17th century.
Right, from the 17th century. Right, I'll put us both in. Yeah, so we're going to do that. Right, well, I'm going to just say, in these unprecedented times, we do what we want. We try to find focus on what we do, enjoy life the best we can. I know life has, lockdown has changed a little bit. We can stroll along the beach, we can go into our gardens. We, of course, have been working from home, haven't we, Blair?
Yes.
Yeah, working from home quite a lot, which we quite like, really, don't we?
I've been working from home for the last 4 months and more. So I was off for 2 weeks, but I was back to work this week. So I worked part-time anyway from home, so that wasn't too bad.
But so how are you finding working from home, Blair? Do you find, can you cope with it? I mean, in terms of a routine, what are you thinking?
It's good in some respects because you don't have the hassle of travelling, spending 2 hours a day travelling to work. We've got our laptop and internet connection and stuff, so it's good and that makes life easier in some respects. However, in the old days, I was fortunate to cycle to work. I had to get the bus, and now I don't, so I've lost a bit of fitness in the last 4 months. So it's got its downside as well. Plus, you feel isolated. You miss seeing your colleagues and stuff as well, I suppose.
And I hope you have a wee pint in one of these beer gardens soon, eh?
We'll do eventually.
With Donald
probably.
And your friends.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
absolutely.
You're allowed to do that. Yes. Yeah, sure. And like I say, I'm going to visit a few of my pals as well that I haven't seen for ages. So, good. It's all really good, actually. Tonight, I'd love to introduce you to two beautiful, amazing poets that I've known for like many, many years. When I first got into the kind of written spoken word scene, I just really love them. I really admire them. And they are Theresa Munoz, and also Claire Askew. They made an impact on me because not only are they talented individuals, they're also very caring individuals, and they care about writers in the community in a very genuine way. And so that's the impact they have on me. And I'm really, really delighted to be able to read their poetry tonight. So thank you for that. So I'm going to, first of all, read from Claire Askew. And this changes things. It's Claire Askew's first full collection, coming after years of work in Scotland's flourishing poetry and spoken word scene. Her poems focus on the lives and experiences of women, particularly the socially or economically marginalised, at pains both to empathise and to recognise the limits of this empathy. They embody a need to acknowledge and challenge the poet's privileged position as documenter and outsider. A responsibility to the poem's political message and to that message's human subject. This changes things, draws much of its strength from the exploration of in-betweenness. Claire Askew's purposeful deployment of objects, lighting effects, and liminal spaces implicates her reader in the poem's argument, holds up a mirror, and asks us to pay attention. The book's romantic relationships, depictions of frustrated travel or social mobility, are bound up in its awareness of the systems of power that permit no true state of innocence. Even the final poem, Hydra, with its celebration of the body and its senses, cannot ultimately allow us off the hook. So I'd like to please, if I may, read a poem from Claire Askew's book. And the first one I'm going to read is called Big Heat. Because I am the one who speaks English, they call me outside, in the street, in an elbow of weak light thrown by our porch. Two tourists mumble like fat, white grubs. The boy comes up the steps to me, hands round a mad map someone drew. His face is hot, red, wet as a tongue. The girl is crying. They are looking for a house that, when they find it, will be shattered. Lime scale white and dry, I want to say that crying is a stupid luxury the island women can't afford. I trained my babies early not to dehydrate themselves this way. I know it will be morning now before this girl, her massive backpack full of useless things, can find the market, buy a quart and pull that water back inside herself again. I'm quiet. Pour a glass full for her from our fridge. She sputters, thank you, in our language. Things that thrive here, mules and stones, crickets, loud as fire alarms, the harder vines, old women whose hands and feet are tough, whose men work boats or built homes, all day in the big heat and died young. The boring sun, snow flies the size of grapes. My father finds the torch and guides them down the street's steep shoulder, holding the light down round their feet until they are out of sight. All night under the chattering fans, I think about the girl's chapped throat, the boy she lies beside, their mouth, none asleep.
Hey.
I'd like to read one more and it's called Hometown. Last week, a horse drowned in the junction pool. Already in its urban myth, you don't believe the river still and thick and stinking underneath its parasol of evening flies. You're in the square, you're counting out a pocket of shrapnel by the cheap white light of Tweeddale tackle shutter front. Round here, the shops are lit like beacons every single night, and locals lie that no one needs to lock the doors. The next bus won't be here for hours. Outside the Cross Keys, limos start to roll up. For the 6-year prom, drawing listless drunks out to the steps of all the nearby bars. You hang moth-like outside the chip shop, boredom scuffing your school uniform. Down on the cobby path, the summer nettles swallow trolleys whole. The sound of tape-recorded bells hangs in the graveyard yew trees, grown-out perms. Boy racers burn their good tires into useless slicks. Broadsiding through the lorry park, you checkle off your fringe with safety scissors. In the public loo, wait in the darkening bus stop for anything. You get home. As the street lights start, they're on, off, orange, flirting with the trees. Your sister says, if you don't leave this town when you grow up, then I will break your knees. Thank you so much, Claire Askew. Love you. Thank you. Blood Axe Books. And I'd like to continue, please, with my second favourite of tonight, and it's from Theresa Munoz. And I'd like to read a little bit about Theresa Munoz. This is called Settle. Beautiful. I actually saw the launch of this in the Scottish Poetry Library. She was very pleased to attend. A digital native and an actual immigrant, poet Theresa Munoz has considerable experience of two subjects that dominate the present day: migration and technology. Born in Canada, she came to Scotland to work and study. Her journey echoed that of her parents, Filipinos who migrated separately from the Philippines in 1970, meeting in Toronto where they worked hard to build new lives. The first of these sequences of poems, Settle, reflects her family experience of emigration over several generations. Although she writes of racism and homesickness, her journey has been a happy one, and she has a positive take on uprooting herself and settling in another country. Her second sequence, Digital Life, looks at technology through the eyes of someone who grew up as part of the Facebook generation. While she's an immigrant in the real world, Munoz is very much at home online. She finds humor and melancholy in her interactions with Google, Facebook, mobile phones, and email, whether it be in the frustration felt waiting for someone to text back, the highly stylized way people present themselves on Facebook, or an oddly empathetic relationship with the unvisited 20th page of a Google search. She's so right. Love you, Theresa. And this is called Brand Street. By appointment they come, a red circled day on the calendar. On the gum-splattered road they pause, wondering how far down the building goes. Some carry tea from the blue cafe nearby. Most wear night-coloured clothes, holding their dependent sticky palms, lugging a fat file of money and paper about money, precious electric bills. And when the guard says, "Come in," the whole day feels torn from them. Their minds, dull hum, replaced by crackling microphone sighs. For hours, it's the moon-textured walls. White chairs melts into a white floor. And the next one is Ice. Some 5,000 miles west of our window, 12 players skate around a white rink, and we huddle on the couch at 3, maybe 4 in the morning, with crisps and beers, crunching our way through body checks, fisticuffs, penalty calls, goals flicked in. When the camera pans to Vancouver's night views, we lean forward to see glass towers, mountain lights, cars streaming the Lions Gate Bridge to the Silver Stadium, where they loop the ice and fling the puck tiny and far, far. Thank you. And Theresa Munoz, and this is actually published by Vagabond Voices. Thank you so much. And I'd like you now to, I'd like to hand over to Blair, who's going to introduce the next poem. Thank you.
Thank you, Rose. This one is by Andrew Marvell, who lived in the 17th century. He was born son of a clergyman in 1621. He went to Cambridge. He got caught up in English civil law where he moved in royalist circles, but afterwards he became quite close to Oliver Cromwell and became his unofficial poet laureate. After Cromwell's death, he became quite critical of the new Restoration regime for its financial and sexual corruption. Finally died in August 1878. This one's called To His Coy Mistress. Had we but world enough and time, this coyness lady were no crime. We would sit down and think which way to walk and pass our long love's day. Now by the Indies, Ganges side, should rubies find, I by the tide, of Humber would complain I would, love you 10 years before the flood. My vestful love should grow, vaster than empires and more slow, and 100 years should go to praise thine eyes and on thy forehead gaze. 200 to adore each breast, but 30,000 to the rest, an age at least to every part, and the last age should show your heart. For lady, you deserve this state, nor would I love at lower rate. But at my back I always hear time's winged chariot hurrying near, and yonder all before us lie, deserts of vast eternity. Thy beauty shall no more be found. Nor in my marble vault shall sound my echoing song, then worms shall try that long preserved virginity, and your great honour shall turn to dust, and into ashes all my lust. The graves of fine and private place, but none, I think, do there embrace. Now therefore while the youthful hue sits on thy skin like morning dew, and while thy willing soul transpires at every pore with instant fires, now let us sport us while we may, and now like amorous birds of prey, rather at once our time devour, than languish in his slow chat power. Let us roll our strength and all, our sweetness up into a ball, and tear our pleasures with rough strife through the iron gates of life. Thus though we cannot make our sun stand still, yet will we make him run. That's it. Andrew Marvell. Thank you.
Yay. That was fabulous. So I'm really proud because I have a wee book, well, big book actually. I'm so proud to be in this book that Claire Askew published. You can see all the names here, and I'm there. So this is one of my highlights. I think it was from last year, Claire. Really, honestly, you know, when you're publishing an anthology, it really just want to jump up and down. So there's people like Ian McMillan, Zelda Chapel, Veronica Pustra, Grace Hugh Young Won, you know, Crawley, Adam Crowes, Marjorie Lofty-Gill, Nikki Burrell, Joanne Bell, Hayley Shields, Kirsty Cowan, Hannah Shipsu, Moira Cormack, Rachel Rankin, Roy Moore, Katie Craig, Jonathan Kotler, Julie Gallant, Liz Mesa, Essa Aldejari, Laurent Pope, Julie Hogg, Alison Gibson, Anita Goves, Tracy S. Rosenberg, Russell Jones, Finola Scott, Sarah Bigham, Rose Ann Fraser, Ritchie, Sheila Hervey Burrell, Mark Nash, Rosie Garland, Jonathan Bay, Elle Heedles, Julian Miller, Ian Rettrick, Julie Danskin, Charles Lang, Anita Govier, Ian McLachlan, Colin McGuire, Rebecca Parfit, Rhiannon Elizabeth. So you see why I love these girls so much? Actually, when I knew them, they weren't actually doctors, but you know, they are now, because they just want to include so many writers and poets. Like recently we had The Kiss of Thistle, and Jim included so many people as well. And I love those type of people, you know. Anyway, I will read from this book, and this book is called A Luminous Defiant, with a beautiful cover, actually from Nick Askew, Claire's brother, who has done a lot of covers for Claire, and he's just brilliant. So this is called Do Not Judge. Look at him, the way he is acting. You think he is unprepared, hungover, nervous? But have you ever thought you might just not be well? So, thank you. I was privileged to be at the book festival, which was cancelled, of course, this year. However, you know, sometimes you think, just, I'm so glad I did that. I'm so glad I had the opportunity. What a privilege! What an absolute privilege to be in events, to be part of different events. And didn't we go along, Blair, to the Edinburgh, International Edinburgh Book Festival, remember?
2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Right.
And what happened to us, remember? They were so kind. Now, who am I talking about? I'm talking about EPSRC and the NHS, all of the Syrians. You know, we're talking about our health. And, you know, they gave us, the University of Edinburgh, they actually gave us a, you know, a lanyard, didn't they?
So
we sat in the VIP section. I think we saw Charlie Roy that day. And we saw kind of, who was the other author we saw that day?
The lady detective author.
The detective author. We saw like lots of famous people and faces. And you know what? Hey, what can we say? That was just such a privilege. So I'm going to read experts are not all in suits. They wear shabby clothes, sit on street corners, some begging for coins. Rough they are called, emotionally scarred. Experts on street life, homeless, survivors against all the odds. Right, do you have another one, Blair, you can share with us?
Not right now, no.
Right, okay, so that's well, you know, I'm probably gonna, as I say, life is too short. It's gonna be a short session tonight because we're not that, we don't want to just be us two. A lot of people, unfortunately, you know, called in, they couldn't make it tonight for one reason or another. But we're going to carry on as we do. And hope to see you all soon, or some of you soon if you want. What I find really, what I find really quite amazing is the books that are on my shelf. Some from me and some from my husband's collection. And this book is from Sister Wendy Beckett, and it's called Speaking to the Heart. It's a collection of 100 poems of wonder, love, sorrow, laughter, longing, prayer, and hope that speak directly to the heart. It's each with a short instruction. So we're talking about a nun here, you know, a nun that has chosen 100 poems that she, I mean, something like we're kind of doing it, I mean, not perfectly, but we're doing here. Basically, you know, loving other people's work and talking about it and reading about it. And I was as fascinated. This nun called Sister Wendy Beckett has chosen so many like awesome poets, like you'll never believe, honestly. For example, John Keats, D.H. Lawrence, E.E. Cummings, W.B. Yeats, John Clare, A.E. Housman, Henry Vaughan, Louise MacNeice, Samuel Taylor Coleridge, Edward Thomas, and it goes on and on. And Sylvia Plath, I mean, she actually liked Sylvia Plath, but she didn't, well, there was one particular poem that I'm going to read that she liked from Sylvia Plath. Narcissi, is that correct pronounced? Among the Narcissi, yeah. So Sylvia Plath, 1932 to 63. She says, Sister Wendy Beckett, although I often find Sylvia Plath over-dramatic and self-regarding, this poem moves me with its objectivity and sympathy. She is looking at an old man whom she knows to be recovering from an operation and notices how the flowers seem in sympathy with him as the wind bends over, lays them flat on the earth, so life has bent over. There is even a subliminal message that, like the Narcissi, they will not be wholly extinguished. So here we go. Spry, rye, and grey as these March sticks, Percy blows in his blue pea jacket among the Narcissi. He is recuperating from something on the lung. The Narcissi too are bound to some big thing. It rattles their stars on the green hill where Percy nurses the hardship of his stitches and walks and walks. There is a dignity to this. There is a formality. The flower is vivid as bandages, and the man mending, they bow and stand. They suffer such attacks. And the octogenarian loves the little fox. He is quite blue. The terrible wind tries his breathing. The Narcissi look up like children quickly and whitely. So we can find, words in every single corner of the universe because we all love words. We love poetry, we love prose. And so we don't give up. We never will. So I bid you good night, and I'll hand you over to Blair to say a few last words.
Well, that's the end of the poetry session tonight. We'll be back next week, and hopefully some more people will come and attend. Hope you enjoyed that. Good night.
Bye.